Hi everyone, this is Faye from Acorn Felting. Today's project is one of the main projects every felter needs to know, and that is your basic ball shape. It's vital to many projects in felting and teaches you the basics of what you need to know in order to progress on to more complex things. For this project, you don't need very many materials. You just need some basics. You need your batting, 4 grams or 0.014 ounces, thereabouts. It doesn't have to be exact for this. I wouldn't go much smaller than this, but by all means go a little bit bigger. Not too big though, because that causes its own issues. If you haven't got batting and you've only got roving stroke tops, then you need to pull the wool apart and mash it up so that the fibres go in different directions before you start. The rest is very similar. Batting is much easier. If you haven't already got it, I would buy in a small amount of coloured batting. You also need your finger protectors, which are vital, especially for beginners. Needle felting needles are very, very sharp, so be very careful. You need some form of pad, mat. Most beginners like to start with foam pads because they are easy to get hold of and not too expensive when you're starting out on a new hobby. You need 3 needles, large, medium and small, and you start off your project with a large needle and work down. The needles I have for this project are colour coded on the tips. My colour coding is green, red and blue, which are 36, 38 and 40 gauge triangular felting needles. You don't have to do these exactly, but you do need the different sizes. Now it's time to begin our project. Gently pull off the amount of wool you need and arrange it in a long strip like this. To start to create your ball shape, you need to take out as much air as you can from your initial shape. It makes it much easier to felt later on. To do this, you take one end of your wool and you curve it over like this. You roll up your wool and tuck in the edges as you go until you have a complete ball shape. Once you have a complete ball shape, you take your large felting needle and you just simply pin it along the edges of the wool to keep it in place. You may end up with an oval like this, no biggie. Just carry on and pin, and you can work this into a circle as you go. Now you can start to felt your ball. To do this, you need to felt all over the shape so that it felts down evenly all over. Felt the part that you have showing, turn your shape, felt the next part, turn your shape, and felt the next part and turn your shape. And then you can swap it over so that you're doing the other sides. Continue to felt all over, making sure that you constantly work towards a circle. If you work too much on one side or one part, you won't end up with a nice round circle. You can see the parts sticking out, and you need to aim at these specifically because these are the bits that I've not quite felted yet. You need even felting all over. At some point during your felting project, you will find that you start to have problems with your needle. It will start to crunch and you will have difficulty putting the needle into the wool. It's at this time that you need to swap to a smaller size needle. In this case, I'm using a red, which for me is a 38 gauge. When you think your ball is firm enough, stop felting. Remove your finger protectors and gently squidge your ball. If your ball pushes down too much, you're not yet finished, and you need to continue felting until the ball is tighter. If this ball is part of another project, don't felt it down completely firmly, leave yourself some room. As you felt down even tighter, you will need to drop down to at least a 40 gauge needle. In my case, I'm using a blue needle, because if your needle, especially at this stage, is too large and the wool is tight, it will leave big dents and holes in. There's ways around this if you do get it, but by dropping down a needle size, it reduces the size of the holes. One final squeeze of the ball to check that it's firm enough. Now if you're happy, take the ball between your hands and roll it around. This helps smooth over any kinks and wipe out any of those annoying little needle marks you get. I'm not quite happy, so I do go back to felting some final bits on this, and then I would re-roll it. One final neaten and check over, and your ball is ready. If you haven't gotten rid of all the holes and you're not happy, just use your needle and put it in at a shallow angle over the holes. This should get rid of them, or at least reduce them so you can't see them so much. While the ball is taking shape, I couldn't help but think this would make an awesome teddy bear head. Make sure you check out the other basic shapes of a cone and a cube. I've shared the links below. I hope you found this video useful. Please like this video to support the channel. Thanks. If you have any questions or comments, please pop them below.